We live in a world that is full of expectations. Some are internal and others external. They seem to be everywhere. Whether we are conscious of them or not is a whole other story. This year, I've been reflecting a lot on how expectations shape and influence our lives. Through the heartfelt conversations with my guests about the theme of expectations, I've learned a great deal about the importance of questioning the expectations that exist in my own life. Welcome to the X Perspective Podcast, a show that dives into personal stories from around the world to explore how environments shape the mind and what that reveals about the human experience. This is episode 19, the season 2 wrap-up, and I'm your host, Raj. It's a beautiful sunny December day here in Bangkok, Thailand. As 2025 comes to an end, so does our season 2. Today, I sit back and reflect on the key takeaways that resonated with me during this thought-provoking season. More than ever, I believe it's important to question the expectations placed on us by others, and equally, if not more importantly, to examine why we hold certain expectations of ourselves. I've found that if you honestly ask yourself, why do I want to meet this particular expectation? The answer can reveal a lot about your character and psychology. You might not find the answer right away, but simply questioning why you want to meet a particular expectation is a very important first step. I want to share a personal story about what happened, at least in my case, when I lived for years without ever questioning a major expectation that was placed on me, and what changed when I finally had the wherewithal to question it. It was the late 80s, and I was in 3rd grade. One day, each of the students were asked to complete a drawing illustrating their future career. The question was, what do you want to be when you grow up? It was easy for me. I wanted to be a doctor, so I could help people. But how did I ever reach such a wise conclusion at the young age of 8? Well, my listeners, that's the interesting part. Before I ever had the chance to truly explore my own interests, my dad told me that becoming a doctor was a noble career and that it would make him proud if I pursued that path. I loved my dad and still do, and of course I wanted to make him happy, so it was a no-brainer. Being a doctor would make him proud and I would be able to help people. So my 8-year-old brain, with its very limited life experience, thought it was a brilliant idea. After all, my dad knew best. As the years passed, I became fixated on achieving this goal, from elementary school through graduate school. The more time and energy I poured into it, the more ingrained it became in my mind that this was definitely the path for me. Or so I believed. I had convinced myself that I had chosen this career freely, and it wasn't an expectation placed on me, but something I truly wanted to do. But here's the thing. Along the way, I experienced brief, fleeting moments when my curiosity and imagination overwhelmed me with joy. I dreamed of traveling to far and mysterious places, like the Amazon rainforest, exploring different cultures, and living an adventurous life far beyond the path that seemed destined for me. But I did a fantastic job of ignoring these short and vivid moments and stayed focused on my goal of pursuing a medical career. The truth is, I was never the academic type, something that would probably shock my high school friends hearing me say this now. I was, however, drawn to learning about the world, its cultures, societies, history, and geography. As time went on, the desire to explore the world kept resurfacing in different ways. Halfway through university, I began shifting away from the hard sciences and gravitating towards the social sciences. Studying psychology, history, religious studies, and sociology brought me far more joy than biology or chemistry ever did. I remember one day During my senior year, I was sitting in my ancient Egyptian class, unable to pay attention. I found myself daydreaming about visiting the Great Pyramids, crawling through the ancient tombs, examining the hieroglyphs, and standing in the desert, staring up at those magnificent monuments. Then in graduate school, during a history class, a professor was showing photographs from his trip to Italy, and I caught myself thinking, I wish I were in Italy, experiencing all these beautiful places rather than looking at photos of them on a projector. These kind of desires would pop up occasionally, but somehow I always managed to shut them down and focus on getting the grades I needed for medical school. I could share countless other moments like this, but the point is, attending medical school was not aligning with my interests, and I became very aware of this around the age of 26. For years, I held myself to an expectation placed on me without ever really questioning it. I just wanted my dad to be proud of me. Here's the lesson I've learned about expectations. Always trying to make others happy by meeting their expectations at the expense of your own inner happiness is unhealthy. At least that's what the stories of my guests have also reinforced to me. It's important to ask whether an expectation truly aligns with your values and sense of self. Okay, more about this later in the show, but for now, let's go back to my story. Despite all the subtle signs that I was on the wrong path, I remained determined to pursue medicine. I had finally finished graduate school and was ready to apply to medical school. Nearly 2 decades of my life had been spent chasing this goal, so it seemed only natural to continue and become a doctor for the rest of my life. Maybe it made sense on paper, but in my heart, I needed to be sure. After graduate school, I fully intended to pursue medicine. But before applying to medical school, I decided to work in a medical clinic to get a sense of what working in the field might look like. For months, I shadowed general doctors, a cardiologist, and even a psychiatrist. Long story short, after observing their work, it confirmed what I had known for years but refused to admit to myself. This path wasn't truly my dream. It was my dad's dream for me, an expectation I had never truly questioned until that point. I just couldn't continue investing any more time and energy into a goal that didn't align with my interests, even if it was a noble and important profession. It took a lot of courage, but eventually I disappointed my dad and never even applied to medical school. To this day, I have no regrets about this decision. It was the right one for me. I wanted to share this story because I think it's so important to be aware of the expectations you place on yourself. Where are they really coming from? Do they align with your values? And more importantly, is meeting others' expectations worth sacrificing your own well-being? This season, I had the privilege of sitting down with 8 incredible guests here in Bangkok. Listening to their stories made me think more than ever about how expectations play a significant role in shaping our lives. Sometimes setting expectations for yourself can be beneficial. Retired engineer Mark shared how meeting his financial and health goals set him up for a happy retirement. I believe it's important to have expectations for yourself when you feel they will enhance your life. But it's also crucial to question why you have certain expectations for yourself. Mixed martial artist Bashir explained how his high expectations continue to push him towards goals that will help him become a successful business owner. As a 2-time cancer survivor, Harry revealed that the expectations he sets for himself to be a loving husband bring great joy and happiness into his life. Asking why you hold a certain expectation can sometimes reveal its source, as in Juan's case. She recognized that growing up within the Thai culture and being influenced by her family's ideas about beauty deeply shaped her own perceptions of beauty standards. For me, her story illustrated how our environments can cause us to carry certain expectations unconsciously for years, until we make the effort to truly understand them. After hearing artist Galina's story of being born and raised under the former USSR regime, it reinforced for me the importance of asking whether the expectations others place on you truly align with your values. If they don't, why should you feel compelled to meet them? My next observation comes from Cindy's story. When Cindy's husband passed away at 42, her family, friends, and community had plenty of ideas about how she should mourn, instead of allowing her to process the loss in her own way. Her story highlighted how carrying the weight of others' expectations at the expense of her own mental health ultimately led her to therapy. Meeting external expectations can be fine if you choose, but not at the cost of your mental health. Now let's turn the tables. What if you stopped trying to live up to others' expectations and instead listened to what your heart truly wanted? Backpacker turned journalist Tommy shared that life has brought him so much joy ever since he left the expected life behind and ventured into the unknown. If you recall, the first point I made was that sometimes it's good to have expectations. Now I want to complete the circle by saying sometimes it's also good not to have any at all. If you've listened to Anshal's story about the kindness she received during one of the darkest periods in her life, you know what I mean. When you don't expect anything and someone pleasantly surprises you with their love, I believe that is one of the greatest gifts you can receive. If you want to listen to any of these incredible stories, you can easily find them on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for your attention and time. But before you go, I've got some exciting news. Season 3 is just around the corner, and we're exploring stories centered around the theme of letting go. What's more, starting next season, the X Perspective podcast will be available as a video podcast in addition to audio. I encourage you to head over to our YouTube channel, the X Perspective Podcast, and hit subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you in episode 20.